And joining us now is Brandon Wolf. He's a survivor of the 2016 Pulse nightclub shooting and press secretary for Equality Florida. He was a witness at today's hearing. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, and I'm very sorry that your testimony is based on the tragedy that you survived, that you lived through. Did you feel heard today in this hearing? Did you leave that hearing room wishing there was something else you could have said?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And I'll say this, I am not naive about the state of our politics. I'm not going to pretend that Republican members of the committee today walked away with an epiphany, that they're suddenly going to change the way they legislate or the way they show up in the world. But I will tell you that I walked away with a couple of things. First of all, as you heard from Congresswoman Presley, I felt a sense of energy from Democrats. I felt a recognition of the urgency of the crisis that LGBTQ people in this country are in. And I will note that Republican members of this committee did not traffic in the same bigotry that they spew online. They didn't say the same things they're willing to say on Newsmax to our faces, which tells me that the more work we do to put human faces to the crisis we're facing, the more we work to humanize the consequences of that unbridled hatred, the more impact we will have on people. But my hope is that the people who heard us loudly and clearly were the people at home, the LGBTQ young people who are wondering if there's anyone fighting for them. I'm hoping that people, our allies at home, heard that there are those of us who are going to step up and make our voices heard no matter what. And I hope that the rest of the country listened today and took it as a challenge to raise the bar on what we expect, not just of our elected officials, but of one another. We can treat one another better. We must treat one another better, but that starts by holding each other accountable. And I'm hopeful that that's what folks took away from the conversation today.
You live and work in Florida, which is not exactly a Democratic stronghold, quite the opposite. And so you are surrounded by Republicans in daily life and accustomed to living among them and trying to communicate. Is there a particular point that you have found that has any impact on Republicans?
Yeah, listen, the challenge is, right, breaking out of our ecosystems, reaching across the aisle, as they say, having conversations that are grounded in shared values. But I will say this. I think most people, largely in our communities, not the talking heads, not the influencers. I'm not talking about Candace Owens or Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh. I'm talking about your neighbors. I'm talking about the person in line with you at the grocery store. I think most people in our communities have a common set of shared values. We all believe that in this country, people should be free to live lives of dignity and respect without fear of discrimination and violence. Most of us believe that if our neighbors were in trouble or needed help, we would offer them what they needed. We would lend a hand. Most of us believe that the best part of America is our diversity and our different perspectives. We start with those shared values. I've found that conversations tend to be easier than we think they'll be.